you noticed that certain relationships over the past year are more important than others, and others have completely fallen by the wayside? What we're going to talk about today is the value of relationships in a virtual world. Stay tuned. Hi, Shannon Waller, and welcome to Team Success. We had a really interesting conversation in a workshop a few weeks ago that really struck me, and I wanted to share it with you and kind of really talk about how it relates to team success, because that's, after all, what our main conversation is about. And I'm just going to share with you some of the notes that I wrote down. Let relationships evolve. In the virtual world, relationships are everything. There's so much choice. If you're relying on transactions up until this year, you likely failed. If you focused on relationships, you'll have built a strong support system. Consumerist thinking has gone by the wayside. The relationship makes the effort worthwhile. So there's some just really interesting and provocative thoughts from these particular notes that I made. And the one that really struck me is if you were relying on transactions up until this year, you likely failed. And it's so true. So what I want to talk about is in our new virtual friendly world, and even if you can go back to work and even if you are in person, I guarantee there are some aspects, even if it's strategic coach, of your life that are in fact on video conferencing. I'm going to use Zoom as the overall name for that. And I think it's really true. And in terms of your team, I hope that you have really been focusing in on relationships. I hope that you have been supporting your team by reaching out with one-on-one conversations. I know some clients have been having great success with town hall meetings. A lot of people are interacting much more frequently. The comment that I've heard from our team, because we've been having some of our consistent team meetings, which has been really fun, is that even one of our team leaders said, she goes, I actually feel closer to my team. And she's an in-person person. Like, she was missing seeing her team. She says, I have grown closer. I know more about people. And she is a relationship person par excellence. This has really given us an opportunity to really develop those relationships. It's really not about transactions. So as you think about your business moving ahead, think about the people on your team who do tend to be more transaction focused. If there's anyone who's just looking to get stuff done, make sure that they are also kind of privy to this way of thinking, that it really is about relationships and that it really is about just caring about people first. You know, this great expression, which I heard about from a DISC training, is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, which is such a powerful statement. It's so true. And there are so many great ways to do it right now. You know, I love how efficient a lot of our Zoom meetings have been. Even if people can travel, sometimes they don't want to. They would rather just beam in and talk to you for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. Well, probably 20 or 30. And they don't have the toing and froing, as I've been calling it, of transportation. So there are so many opportunities to just be face to face with people. You hear tone, you see body language, you see facial expressions, and all of that is incredibly useful when you are looking to build relationships. So again, I just really want to explore this idea of not being transactional, not being consumerist. And I think we're at a bit of a watershed moment where if you have consumerist thinking about your product or service, it's going to be in an app really, really soon, because we don't want to deal with people when it's something that they can just basically hit a few clicks and buy. We want to save the people stuff for the interesting conversations, for things around core values and our interests and our goals about the future, and things that have not yet been invented and automated and outsourced. You know, these are creative conversations, and it starts with how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your family? And then you can build on to what's your future about? What are you excited about? What's stressing you right now? How can I help? And those conversations are so powerful and so appreciated. One of the things that I actually really love about Zoom is how much more real people seem to be. So people are dressing more casually. You know, I'm coaching in jeans. That has never happened in the last 25 years. I'm quite enjoying it. You know, people are wearing their slippers inside, which is fun. And you get to see people's families. You get to see their home environments. You get to see their kids sometimes. And at least the people I've been hanging around with have been very gracious and very accepting. It's still very present, which takes, by the way, a little bit of a skill, but it's really enjoyable. So there is a huge opportunity here if you choose to grab it. And that is to really take your relationship skills and capabilities up a notch. And this is both front stage with your clients and then also backstage with your team. So the questions I kind of want you to think about, and you may or may not have answers for all of them, are, okay, are you coming first from how are you? I've done a separate podcast about that. Just asking that one basic question, I think, is key. Are you having not only, team conversations, but also one-on-one? Are you scheduling time with key people, just having a catch up? Are you also doing some social stuff, be it, again, in person or probably on Zoom? Backstage, how are you taking care of people? Do you have the right communication systems in place? Are you making sure that people are not overwhelmed, given that everything is digital? So, I can't walk by people in the hall anymore because we're not in our offices. So are you making sure that you're really supporting people in the way so that they are not focused on all the tasks and actually can be present with people? So that's one key thing. And then front stage, and by the way, this involves all your team who's also front stage with your clientele, is are they focused on relationships? Or they still have that old mindset, if they did, of transaction, that kind of more consumer mentality? I just want to get stuff done. Why can't people just do blah, blah, blah? And the frustrations that sometimes arise. So again, just educating everyone that this is in fact a new reality. And everyone, I actually am fairly introverted, which is a surprise to people who see me in front of a room. But everyone has a capacity and a capability for relationship. Maybe you're super effusive and you've got as StrengthsFinder would call it woo, winning over others, otherwise known as charm. I'm a huggy person. Maybe you miss shaking hands and, actually touching people and seeing how they're doing. Wherever you are on that continuum, there is absolutely a capacity for every single human being to be in relationship with other people. So just stressing that this is actually a priority, a capacity, and a capability that everyone has. And the more we develop it, I think the more successful our businesses will be, the happier our teams will be, the happier our clientele will be. And again, we get to focus on those things that technology cannot do, that it cannot cover. And that's essential. So really just making sure that, was my notes say, let relationships evolve us. Let us grow and develop and learn. I just got to spend time with all of our Team Plus coaches and people who support the programs and sell it. It was just really phenomenal to actually focus in on the relationships that we have with one another. They were already strong. They've gotten even better. And we're working very interdependently. It looks like independent, but really it's interdependently because we're all focused exactly on the same thing and the same result, and doing our best and being our best for our clients and being our best for our fellow team members. And that's been a real joy. I left that meeting feeling so grateful and so confident. And that's a pretty spectacular way to feel. So hopefully when you leave your next meeting with either clients or your team, that's actually where you're coming from. I think those are two really good indications that you're focusing on relationships versus transactions. And again, that consumerist thinking has gone by the wayside. So just want to inspire you a little bit about this very essential, kind of want to shine a little light on it because it can be easy with all of the different things we all have to handle to let this one go by the wayside a little bit, and it's not changing. This horse is not going back in the barn. So we really need to embrace it and get good at it. And even if it's challenging, still embrace the challenge and get good at it. Watch people who are already really good at it and learn from them, and just be comfortable. Be yourself is actually some of the best advice for having successful, productive relationships, is not trying to be somebody you're not, because you are certainly enough. You're all what it takes to have a great relationship with people. So just again, a reminder that the effort is worthwhile, and in fact, it's its own reward. So as you leave this conversation, I just want to make sure you really treasure and value the relationships that are important to you. One of the other effects that I've seen from the pandemic is people that were less essential to your life or more surface level have probably fallen away. We're really going to focus our time, our effort, our energy, our attention on the people that really matter. You already know who those are. So give them a call and let them know that you're thinking about them. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know at questions@strategiccoach.com. And as always, here's to your team success.